Alright guys, TacticalRab again today. Hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. OpTic Texas reverse swept Atlanta FaZe last night to secure their passage into the major as the #1 seed. The full bracket has now been confirmed. Many great storylines in here, and OpTic arguably have the harder side of the bracket after their victory last night, but they do believe the confidence they can take from that will mean it's going to be no issue for them at all. But very much enjoyed your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always, I'd greatly appreciate it. It really helps out the channel. Loads of reaction, of course, to that series last night. This was the final round that happened here. Shotzzy made a great play early on, went from 4-0 to 4-4. Then OpTic won the final couple of rounds. iLLeY sniped Slasher right, I think, as they were trying to plant the bomb. And in the end, Simp couldn't clutch the 1v3. The series was closed out. Honestly, a dominant performance here from Dashy. A 1.42 over the series. Record breaking for a couple of reasons, actually. This series had a few different numbers that, well, haven't been top so far. Mainly damage for Dashy. 13,700, blowing away the record that we've seen so far this season from an individual player. And as he says, that's how we play. Love the resilience from the boys to complete the reverse sweep because, I mean, look, they lost to Vegas. Kind of funny, really. Of all the teams they played some pretty good teams this split. Toronto, Seattle, etc. FaZe, of course. The only team they lost to was Vegas Leisure, right? Kind of crazy stuff. But, yeah, it's how it goes sometimes. Still, though, secured the #1 seed. You could argue that they actually didn't want the #1 seed based on the fact that they'd be winners bracket anyway. And their matchup and their bracket is arguably easier had they have lost. But nonetheless, you've got to, you know, the confidence you gain from a series win like that up against FaZe, the resilience shown is definitely, like, if they'd have lost both series this week, even if they'd have played a theoretically easier team at the major, I imagine, like, their chances of winning are significantly less than they would have been having had this victory and believing they've got what it takes within the team. Even as Brandon says, or Dashy says here, Raider alt type of series, right? So, you know, Raider alt, Valorant and stuff. I don't know if he's uninstalled Valorant because we know he was talking even when he got dropped that Scump kept coming up to him at, like, this party telling him he's got to uninstall Valorant and stuff. And Dashy was like, look, I got you, bro. I got you. I'm not going to play it anymore. But I don't imagine it's completely uninstalled. And I mean, look, it doesn't seem to matter for him anyway if he's still playing it on the side because absolutely on fire last night. As Sasha says, you know, we just threw that away. GG's OpTic lost 3-2. OpTic kind of just turned up on the final few maps of the series in what was certainly the best series so far this year. And even as Attach says, yeah, best series of the year so far. Totally agree with that one. OpTic versus FaZe usually delivers. And even though this is online, I mean, imagine had it been on LAN, it would have been crazy, but it sets us up very nicely indeed for the major. So this is how things look then in terms of the standings. OpTic, of course, 4-1. The 13-10 map count was enough to get them through, despite it being much worse than Toronto, because, as I said yesterday morning, they have the head-to-head over Toronto, so they win that tiebreaker and become the #1 seed. By winning last night, Thieves against Breach, because Breach could have been #1 seed yesterday had they have won convincingly, but Thieves, having beaten them game 5, round 11 as it was at the end, they go 2-3 to knock Mutineers down based on, I mean, look how close this is. 42% map win percentage for Thieves, 41% map win percentage for Florida Mutineers. So, you know, unlucky. That's you down to the losers bracket. Same with Vegas Legion, of course, also at 2-3. So, yeah, the 2-3 tiebreaker is always tough. But if you can't win the majority of your series, you're always putting your fate in the balance, I suppose. And then Surge and London, all, you know, already, I mean, London already confirmed losers, but Surge, after their defeat yesterday, starting in the losers bracket, not going to be easy for them at all. We might do a video on them tomorrow. But at the top of the table, we've got the subliners here, lots of 3-2 teams, and then 2 4-1 teams, very competitive at the top end of the field. Had OpTic lost, they would have been, I believe, where FaZe sit here, the worst of the 3-2 teams, based on the pretty sketchy map count that OpTic had this stage. Having won, though, with the head-to-head tiebreaker, they got the #1 seed. That, therefore, leaves the bracket looking like this, and I'll bring it up so it's actually slightly bigger for you guys in a second. But you guys can see the entire bracket, all the matches that will take place. The first lot of these on Thursday, then quite a few Friday, Saturday, and then, of course, the Championship Sunday, the final 3 or so series they all play on that day. This, then, is the brackets. This is the winner's side for you guys. It's just about on screen. OpTic versus Thieves. This is the thing, right? Just because you win and become #1 seed doesn't mean your game is easier. But then again, the way Thieves are playing right now, they're like, they are the 8th best team in terms of the way they perform at this stage. It's understandable that they are there. However, OpTic versus Thieves is always a spicy one for various reasons. And we know that Thieves tend to just turn up to a new level when they play OpTic. There's something about the OpTic versus Thieves matchup that brings the best out of Kenny for some reason as well. We'll see that in a second. The fact that yesterday he dropped a 0.7 in his series. Wouldn't be surprised if he turns up against OpTic in the major and drops a 1.2. Like, that's just how this guy tends to go against OpTic. So Thieves always seem to bring their A game against OpTic. Then again, though, OpTic have played like the better team. And, you know, Thieves, I think they're a bit questionable in all the game modes right now. I'm not personally convinced they're going to get back to where they were last year. So we'll see. And the thing is, like, we'll share from iLLeY in a second here the fact that he's confident in this one. Obviously, they could have played Boston and been on the other side of the bracket. bracket. But, you know, as I say, beating FaZe is going to give you more chance of doing well in this tournament than if you had have lost and had that in the back of your minds that we would just went 0-2 on a week going into the major. Never ideal. However, if they do win that, they play either Subliners or Rokkr, presumably New York. That's not going to be an easy game at all. Rokkr could also win. But, yeah, definitely a tricky side of the bracket that OpTic find themselves on. The other side, had they have lost, they'd have played Boston round 1, and then if they'd have beaten Boston, as usually they would against Zinni and co, then they'd play either Toronto or Guerrillas. Also not easy, right? So lots of great teams right now in the league, but this is the way the bracket looks. Some interesting rematches here as well. We've seen Breach versus FaZe was one of the first games we saw so far this season. Breach actually won it then. Ultra versus Guerrillas we saw just this past weekend. Again, we've got Scrappy versus JoeDeceives. And just a few days ago, right? I mean, Scrappy was talking his trash after beating these guys, and maybe for good reason, but Guerrillas get the chance to rematch on LAN and see if it's going to go a different way. I can't imagine it will personally, but I'm interested to get that rematch very shortly indeed. Now, the other side, which is very important here, is what the losers bracket looks like. We scroll down, we've got Mutineers, London, Legion, and Surge rounding out the losers bracket. Now, I believe the way this will work is that, you know, whoever loses these respective matches 1 through 4 will go down to these matches 1 through 4. In round 2, the bracket then flips. So let's say Thieves were to lose to OpTic and they were to beat Florida and then they were to beat this team, like whoever they played here, they would go to round 3. But if OpTic were to lose in round 2, they would not go into this round 3 game. They would go to the other round 3 game, just so, like, you know, potential rematches take a bit longer to occur. But I do believe that they are kind of, well, congruent here in terms of if OpTic lose to Thieves, they play Florida. It's basically how this works. So it's kind of incredible, right? Like going into the major, OpTic find themselves in a spot where they play Thieves, who tend to turn up against them, and they play Florida, who they can't seem to beat. So if they were to lose, right, if they were to win, then it's a different story. But nonetheless, OpTic have a bracket which, I mean, look, the script writers have done an absolute madness here, as usual. Now, London will play the loser of the Subliners and Rokkr, Legion will play the loser of Ultra and Guerrillas, and then Surge will play the loser of Boston and FaZe. And that's very interesting again, right, because Boston at their home major might play FaZe round, well, they do play FaZe round 1, and if they were to lose, they'd play Surge in the losers bracket. So, yeah, tricky for Boston, right? It almost feels like if they want to have a decent major here, they've got to beat FaZe, which is not going to be an easy task at all, but it is the home event, and if they were to go out to FaZe and Surge as the top 12 team, like, that's rough at your home event, and it's not out of the realms of possibility based on what we have just seen. And as I say here, talking about the OpTic versus Thieves series, as Kenny says, I was shooting marshmallows, but I mean, yeah, he had a 0.78 in the series yesterday. You can bet your bottom dollar when he plays OpTic in a week in a few days' time, he's more than likely going to have a slightly different scoreline. And then, of course, Dave Paddy might play OpTic and losers were they to lose to Thieves, and he, of course, has got a 3-0 record against OpTic on LAN so far. So we'll see if that can continue or not, or maybe that match will never happen, right, if OpTic were to beat Thieves, as they, well, are obviously confident that they can do. It would be nice as well. I know that, you know, Thieves and, well, where Nature is based out in LA, I'm guessing, is not where Scump and the guys are based. It would be nice to see some sort of watch party between these guys at some point, especially because they do play each other on Thursday at this event. So it would be nice to see Nature get out there to Boston as well and have a watch party with Scump on board as well, because we know that all the OpTic guys for Scump's watch party and all the flank guys are traveling there to Boston. Very exciting prospect. And we'll see some further reaction from the OpTic guys to all this stuff in a second. Did want to quickly mention this Brian stat here. So this is, well, which teams have started the most tournaments in losers round 1 the most. Unfortunately, the winners here are the Las Vegas Legion. Not really surprising. Paris Legion, of course, as they were previously. So since the Cold War days where we've started to do this idea where teams start in losers, there's been quite a lot of tournaments where teams have had bad runs in qualifiers. But yeah, Legion have done this 8 times. LA Guerrillas, Surge, Ravens, Mutineers are the top 5. And then there's actually quite a few exceptions. So Thieves, Subliners, and then you get down to the bottom with OpTic only having done that once. And also Breach is kind of surprising, right? I guess Breach have only been around for the Vanguard season, so maybe it makes a bit more sense there. But yeah, still, OpTic only had that done once when they started in losers, and FaZe have never had it, right? They've always been good enough in the qualifiers to have avoided the losers bracket. And if you start in losers, the win percentage from starting in losers is 0% as it stands in the CDL. In terms of actually going on to win the tournament, and that's why it's really tricky for teams like Surge. Very talented, but starting in losers kind of is a death sentence to their potential charge for at least, well, championship intention this time around. And Tim was like, damn, that's pretty tough for Legion in general. Now, last night after the stream was coming to an end, really, the guys hopped on the Scump watch party to give their thoughts on it. Wanted to show a bit of this, iLLeY giving his perspective on the fact that they're playing Thieves. Pretty excited at it. I thought it was funny what Shotzzy said about Zinni. Was like, I would have played Zinni at a bit of free win 3 versus 4. But, you know, iLLeY feels confident whoever they play really after this result they had last night. But also talking about the time he spent in Toronto when he was at the Toronto facility, and some funny words he had to say for the Toronto guys after he took them down, reminiscent of the Hill Hilton. If you guys know Hilton from a few years ago, those who know will know what I'm talking about there.
Look at the bracket. You guys got your bracket for the major. Already play Thieves round 1. How you feel about that?
Wait, I like that.
It was actually weird because your guys' series.
Am I faded, bro?
Where's
she at? Wait, 2, 4, 6. Wait. Oh, this is winners. Oh.
Yeah. Your series and
bracket. I was like, wait, we're missing Florida. Like,
your series and Boston and Thieves series looked super similar. Like first 2 maps kind of got rocked. Last 3 maps like just started coming different.
Wait, we would have been where FaZe was at if we lost that. We would have played Breach.
Yeah, you would play Breach, which like it's Zen.
Yeah, like,
you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, no, it's just Zen. You know what I'm saying? Like 3v4.
Anything? I mean, obviously, you had a little bit of a little bit of setbacks, getting stuck in Toronto for a little bit. But now that you're back, is everything refocused? Are you guys looking forward to getting into this weekend? First LAN event in a long ass time. I'm psyched about it.
Oh hell yeah! I'm happy to be back. I've been in Canada for so long. Bell fiber is different though. I'm not gonna lie, but like it's good to be back with the squad. I'm not gonna lie.
Baking soda.
Really nice to be back.
Or bacon soda. My bad.
No, it's a beer.
Oh, that's a beer.
It was funny. There's
literally bacon soda.
It was funny and it was a bit awkward. I'm not gonna lie.
Got another one.
Hey, man. Like after I won, like I was like, I don't know. I was hella happy and like they were just hella sad. I don't know. It was weird.
Did you scream at any point like, yo?
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. After we won, I yelled, "This is my facility."
No, you didn't.
I swear to God.
That's so rogue.
That's so rogue.
That's so rogue.
Yeah, but it's funny. It's
No,
but
it was for trolls.
Yeah,
It was for trolls.
It's for trolls. It's in good spirits.
Well, I didn't yell it to them though. I just yelled it like with the squad.
At the facility, you looked up.
How far away were they from you? Like
They're pretty far away.
A room away or like 2 rooms away?
Like really far away.
Like
Like from where you're at to like where we're playing.
Oh, okay.
They heard that. Because I'm not going to lie. What?
Don't tell them what's behind the curtain.
No, but for real, shout out to Toronto for letting me use their facility.
Yeah, shout out to Toronto.
They're actually the ghosts. I'm not even capping.
So very much enjoyed your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. What do you guys think about the brackets going into the major? Definitely an interesting one, but also should OpTic have purposely thrown the series yesterday? Actually, I did want to mention one more thing before we close out here on this bracket, because if you guys look here, the Boston versus the Subliners, there was a realistic chance yesterday if Boston got beaten 3-1 that there would have been an exact tie in map count and map win percentage between Boston at 12-8 and potentially the Subliners at 12-8 as well. There was a world in which there might have had to be a tiebreaker game there. I'm not sure how that would have gone in terms of the strength of schedule, which is the kind of next tiebreaker they use. But we had that like firstly right this season when there was a tiebreaker match right at the start and they weren't streaming it or something. So that was an almost possibility here going into the major again. But well, thankfully we avoided the drama of that this time around. But very much enjoyed your thoughts on all this stuff in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. Take care. And I'll see you next time.